When I woke up, a man was holding my hand, claiming to be my husband, but I knew I had never met him before in my life. Hi, my name is Patricia, and I almost didn't make it out to tell you this. My first thought when I woke up was that I couldn't remember falling asleep. My second thought was that I didn't know where I was. White ceiling, antiseptic smell, and a man sitting next to my bed, holding my hand like he belonged there. He had kind eyes. His voice was gentle. He told me his name was Daniel. He told me he was my husband, that we'd been together for 6 years. I looked at him and felt nothing, not a flicker, like reaching for a memory and finding empty air. The doctors, different ones I only saw briefly in the hallway, said memory loss after a trauma like mine wasn't unusual. Daniel filled in all the gaps so smoothly. Our apartment, our routines, little details of a life we supposedly shared. He never pushed, just waited, patient in a way that I told myself was love, but something was off about his eyes. The voice was warm, the eyes were always working. Every time he told me something, he'd watch my face after, just for a second, like he was checking whether it landed.
This illustrates predatory vigilance. The manipulator constantly monitors the target's reactions to ensure the fabricated reality successfully bypasses the victim's natural defensive skepticism.
I told myself I was paranoid, that this was just what recovery felt like. I was wrong about that. One morning he brought me tea and sat on the edge of the bed and said, "You used to love mornings. You'd always be up before me." He smiled like he was remembering something real. I watched his face and tried to feel something. Recognition, warmth, anything, nothing. But I nodded. Because I didn't know yet what I was nodding at. He brought me home 2 weeks after I woke up. He walked me through the apartment like he was showing it to me for the first time. Which, for me, he was. "This is our kitchen. This is where you like to read." I nodded along. I didn't recognize any of it. The first thing that didn't add up was the photographs. There were pictures of us everywhere, framed, arranged on shelves, printed like a life fully lived. But in every single one, something was wrong. My hair was always different from how I wore it now. My expression looked stiff, like I was standing next to someone I'd just met. I didn't say anything, I just remembered it. The second thing was a locked drawer in the bedroom. When I asked about it, his smile didn't move, but something shifted in his eyes. "Old paperwork," he said. "Tax stuff. Boring." He moved on fast, and I let him, because I wasn't ready to push back yet. I didn't know enough. The third thing was a name. I found it on a folded piece of paper tucked inside a book on the shelf. A book he said I loved. The paper looked old. The name on it was Marcus. Underneath, in handwriting, I recognized as mine. "Don't let him tell you otherwise." I didn't know who Marcus was, but whoever I was before the accident had left that note for a reason. I put the paper back exactly where I found it, and I started paying very close attention to everything. About 3 weeks in, he arranged for my mother to visit, framed it as a gift, like he was doing me a favor. The way he said it told me he thought he was completely in control. My mother walked through the door and hugged me for a long time. When she pulled back and looked at him, her face did something she couldn't quite hide. Just a flicker. Gone in a second behind a polite smile. But I saw it. Later, when he stepped out for groceries, he always made sure to leave us just enough time alone to seem natural. My mom pulled me close and said quietly, "Patricia, listen to me." A beat. "That's not Daniel." I didn't move. "Your Daniel had a beard," she said. Her voice was shaking slightly. "He was bigger. I only met him that one Christmas, but I know what I saw. That man's voice isn't even right." She glanced toward the door. I don't know who that is in there, but he's not your husband. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe right. Where is... I stopped. What happened to him? She shook her head. She didn't know. After the accident, she'd been contacted by a man who identified himself as my attending physician, a Dr. Reeves, who told her I needed rest and limited visitors. She'd respected that for weeks until this man she didn't recognize called and invited her over. Dr. Reeves, my attending physician. I thought about those watching eyes. And I just knew. The man sleeping in the next room wasn't my husband. He was the doctor who treated me after the accident. And he'd spent weeks building a life around me. Our life. That was never real. After my mom left, after we agreed she'd stay quiet and give me time, I went looking. He'd been careless once, left his keys on the kitchen counter while he showered. I had the drawer open in under a minute. Inside was a folder. Inside the folder was my medical file. The real one. I'm not a doctor, but I know how to read words. And the words in that file told me my amnesia wasn't just a result of the accident. Someone had adjusted my medication in the days right after I was brought in. A stretch of time, all written down, during which someone with access to my care had made decisions that weren't standard. That someone had signed his name at the bottom of every page. Dr. Reeves. I put everything back exactly as I found it. Locked the drawer. Put his keys back on the counter. Then I sat in the kitchen and stayed very still, because my hands were shaking, and I didn't want him to see that when he came out of the shower. He had been my doctor. Something had gone wrong. Something he did. Something he was trying to cover. And instead of facing it, he'd stepped into the empty space my memory left behind and made himself at home. A clean, safe life where the only witness was a woman who couldn't remember a thing. But then I woke up at 3 a.m. with one image behind my eyes. Headlights. A road. My hands on a steering wheel. And a man in the passenger seat reaching for it. My hands. My steering wheel. I was starting to remember. It came back in pieces over the next 4 days. The smell of rain on asphalt. The sound of tires on a wet road. His voice, I know it now, shouting something I still can't make out completely. And then, on the 4th night, all of it came back at once. I hadn't been in that car by accident. I'd been following him. Weeks before the crash, I'd found documents I was never supposed to see. Records that showed Dr. Reeves had been covering up serious errors at the medical center where he worked. The kind of errors that ended people's lives and got buried. He knew I had them. He knew what I was going to do with them. My real husband was Marcus. He'd been helping me gather everything we needed. We were on our way to hand it over the night Reeves drove us off that road. He didn't lose control. He made a choice. Marcus didn't make it. I did. And when Reeves realized I'd survived, realized I had no memory, he didn't call for help. He saw a way out. He walked into that hospital room and became my husband.
This is a case of pathological identity theft. By weaponizing the victim's amnesia, the aggressor creates a parasitic reality to neutralize accountability and ensure total control.
Early on, he gave me a tablet. Said it would help with my recovery, track my sleep, keep me connected. He set it up himself. Didn't occur to him to check what else it could do. My mom figured it out on her way out the door that day. She found one function he hadn't disabled, and for the next 4 days, while he watched me with those careful eyes, I was doing one thing, documenting everything and sending it out. The night the police knocked, I was sitting in the kitchen with a cup of coffee. He answered the door. I heard him start talking, that smooth, ready voice, prepared for anything. Then I heard him stop. I didn't get up. I sat there and listened. He looked back at me once, right before they walked him out. I don't know what he expected. Shock, maybe, or the blank, confused face of the woman he thought I still was. I was still sitting there with my coffee, completely calm. 3 other families came forward that same week. The falsified records, the evidence Marcus and I had gathered, the medical file in that locked drawer. All of it held up. Reeves is still in there. I sold the apartment, every piece of furniture in it. My mom helped me find a new place. Small, mine. There's one photograph of Marcus on the windowsill, just one. He knew something was wrong before I did. He never stopped trying to fix it. Neither did I.
If you woke up next to a stranger claiming to be your spouse, how long would it take you to figure out the truth? Let me know in the comments.